you can see from the title, there are some things changing and I'm very, very excited. I've been in this studio for about 2 years now. I am so excited to finally be achieving some of the goals that I've been working so hard towards. I'm very excited, but let's get into the video and I will tell you all about it. I can just barely contain my excitement. When I started this art business, I was working in television as an editor and ad producer, and so that was a great experience, but it wasn't very creative. So I worked there for about 3 years and then I left when I was 23 and pursued my dream of becoming an artist. It has been a really, really rough journey and I wouldn't take it back for anything, but it has been very emotional and it has taken everything within me to keep going and to pursue this dream. It's not as easy as it looks, and I think people sometimes think that I'm just sort of painting in my studio all day, just living the dream, which I am, but there is so much more that goes into running an art business than people really realize, and I am really grateful for the highs and the lows. But when I started this art business, I was working full-time, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and then I would get home from work and draw after work and into the early hours of the morning, and that time really re-energized me as a creative. And as I progressed in my role in television, it really became very evident that I wasn't passionate about it and I didn't really want to be working in such a corporate environment. So I made the leap and I started my art business in 2020, and I was actually going to move overseas at the time, but then COVID happened, so it all became very complicated, but I ended up just staying put and creating my business. During that time, I started drawing lions and tigers and all sorts of big cats, and those artworks did really well, and I started sharing the process online, and that's what made my videos go viral, and that's how I started to build a bit of a following, because people really resonated with what I was doing and the animals that I was drawing. So this big one is what I will go into next. That was the main artwork that I wanted to figure out, but I feel like this looks really cool. It's got this sort of marble effect happening, which I love. I'll take you through my experiments. I really enjoyed that time, but I didn't really feel like that subject matter really spoke to me as a person. I loved everything that they represented, but it didn't really connect with the feminine side of myself. So I was really excited to jump over, but I was really nervous that people wouldn't want to follow my work anymore. And at that time I met my mentor Angus, and he really encouraged me to just go after what I wanted, and he really just backed me up. He helped me to shoot my first ever model, and I got in one of my friends, Annika, and he set up the lighting and got his cinematographer in and shot this incredible shoot of just amazing reference photos that I would have never been able to get on my own, and that really gave me such a boost of confidence, and to have someone like him back me up gave me the confidence that I needed to really go after this new subject matter. So I started drawing the female form, and it was such an exciting time. It was a very hard transition. Painting and drawing the female form is one of the hardest things that you can do as an artist. Like with animals and fur, it doesn't have to look exactly like the reference. You can get away with a lot and it still looks incredible. Whereas with the human body and the face and the figure, everyone knows what the figure should look like and what it needs to represent. Even if they're not an artist, everyone knows when something isn't lining up, or if the symmetry on the face isn't right. If the proportions are just off, people pick it up, even if they're not artists. Everyone knows what facial symmetry looks like. Just a quick note from this video's paid partner, which is BetterHelp. I am such an advocate for therapy and talking about your feelings, and I created this channel to connect with people and create deeper connections and have deeper conversations, and that's something that's really important to me. I am so passionate about becoming the best version of yourself, and recently I was really going through a really hard time and I really did need therapy. I needed to talk to someone that was highly qualified, that could cut through all the noise and help me to really know what is true. And I went through a few different therapists in the beginning to find the right fit. And now I have the most incredible therapist. She is so kind and she has really validated my experience. I have been partnering with BetterHelp for so many years and they have really helped me to become the best version of myself. The therapists on BetterHelp are so highly qualified and I don't want anyone to be suffering or doing life alone, and I have been able to transform my mental and emotional health over the last few months just going to therapy and being able to unpack all of those feelings and emotions on a regular basis and really getting deep into what makes me me, and I really couldn't recommend it enough. So if you are interested in therapy and you want to give it a go, make sure you click the link in my description and use my name Carly Renee at the checkout and you will receive a discount. And then once I'd been drawing the female figure for a year or two, Angus challenged me again and said, I think you should start painting, because drawing does really hold you back in so many different ways. It's very limiting in that you have to get it framed behind glass and it's very expensive and also very fragile. And then also, I just felt that my style wasn't evolving. So I really love my charcoal pieces and I'm sure I will go back and do a few in the future. But my main goal as an artist was to really be evolving and challenging myself constantly. So I made the switch over to painting, and that was even harder than transitioning from tigers to the human form. Transitioning from charcoal to oil paint was the hardest thing I've ever done, hands down. Mixing skin tone, mixing paint, it's just a completely different medium, and you know, paint brushes and like such a wet medium is so different to pencils and paper. So I really did struggle with that switch over, but now I feel like I've found my feet and it is so exciting and it's so worth it. And you know, I just feel so passionate about like showing people my full process and showing people the highs and the lows, because it's so hard when you look at incredible artists and you just think, oh, well, they're just really talented. And of course, talent plays a part in every artist's work, but there is so much to be said for hard work and like persevering. And yeah, I just really wanted to show people that it's so possible to push past your own limitations and create work that you've never thought that you could do. So that's why I'm so passionate about sharing my process online and sharing my thought process and the real life feelings that you have when you're creating large works. And I truly am not afraid to show people how bad my work has been and how the journey of improving has been, and I don't feel ashamed by showing that process. I feel really proud of how far I've come and what I've learned along the way, and I feel like it's such an honor to be able to share that journey with you. So that takes us to the present day, and because I am a figurative artist, I am grounded in that classical style of painting, and a huge inspiration for my work has been from the old masters and the painters of the Renaissance. I just think what they did during that time is just so incredible and timeless and beautiful, and it's just, I wanted to create work that was like that, and just something that you could put on your walls today and something that you could put on your walls in 10 years. It's just something that is just so elegant and beautiful, and I'm not sure why I'm drawn to that, but I just feel really connected to that style of painting. And I went traveling when I was 19 all through Italy and Switzerland. I went to Florence, which is the capital of where the Renaissance was born, and I loved it and I appreciated it, and I was always very arty, but I didn't really appreciate what it would mean to me now as a full-time artist and someone that's basing all of their inspiration and life's work around that area and that time period. So it has been a huge dream of mine to travel and go to Florence and live and create in the same area that the old masters created in. I actually get a little bit emotional every time I talk about this. So I am going to be going to Florence and living and working from a studio there for 3 months. So I feel just incredibly grateful that I have this opportunity. I am going to be studying with an incredible art school who their practices and way of teaching and learning is just so modern and also grounded in the classical style and approach. So I will be studying with the Florence Classical Arts Academy. They have kindly invited me to come and study with them. So this is my first ever formal training experience, and I know that as I learn a new technique, it's going to be a huge learning curve, and I am really going to struggle. The way that I do this is just my own method, and that's the way that I'm comfortable in doing it. And by opening myself up to a new method, I know that there's going to be a bit of a learning curve, so I'm very excited to share that whole process with you. And my work from the beginning of when I go to Florence to the end is going to be such an incredible process to watch the evolution of my style from the beginning to the end. So the Florence Classical Arts Academy has an incredible hybrid program, which is basically 6 months of learning, but you do 3 months at home online, and you complete the theory element in your own time, and then you go to Florence and do the next 3 months in person with the teachers, and you get that feedback. So I think it's an incredible program, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. My classes start in January, February, March, April, and then from the end of April I will be hopping on a plane and going to my new studio in Florence and studying in person at their university from May, June, July. So right over the summer period, it's going to be a European summer. I just couldn't be more grateful and more excited. I am just glowing, so excited, honestly. I really haven't had a moment to talk about this artwork that I've been working on throughout this video because I had so much to talk about. As you know, this is a really special painting. It's really different for me. I have split the process of this artwork coming together into 2 videos because it's actually not finished yet. And so part 2 of this artwork coming together will be in the next video. So stay tuned for that. I have been going on some hikes lately. I know you guys love seeing these shots. I live in an incredible area and I love hiking, so I thought I'd add a little bit of my most recent hike that I went on. It was so energizing, and honestly I just soaked it all up. We ended up going for a swim in this waterhole, and let me tell you, it was so icy cold, but it was so refreshing. I felt so alive after, and totally re-energized, ready for a huge week of painting and editing. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing week. I love you guys so much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave me a comment, and I'll see you in the next video.